Welcome to Our Healing Voices podcast and YouTube channel. I'm Aaron Lehman, and this is episode 45 with Malwina Sitarz. And I am so excited to have her here. Malwina and I and my wife, we met each other like 5 years ago, and I just feel so blessed for having connected with Malwina. So I will share more about her momentarily, but for those of you who are brand new to the Our Healing Voices world, I just wanted to share a brief little synopsis of how this was created. Actually, like prior to the pandemic, I've been in this like essential oils world. I've been a massage guy and did a yoga teacher training. And so just have been in awe of healing modalities and wellness modalities. And I was like, I just feel so grateful because over these years, this last 15-ish years, 20 years, I just feel like I continue to meet powerhouse human beings, powerhouse energy lights, And so I'm like, yes, I want to I want to do interviews, and I want because my voice, my healing journey, my healing experience. Yeah, I find it to be it's beautiful and wonderful and inspiring and everything, but like there are so many people out there in this world saying yes to wellness, saying yes to evolution, saying yes to making little conscious shifts to change like paradigms, right? To change generational stories. And so I just have been in awe of all the people I've met. And I was like, sometimes it can feel lonely. And maybe Malwina can relate to this. Maybe you can relate to this. Those of you who are listening, sometimes like when you're reading your book by Wayne Dyer or your book by Lisa Nichols or your book, or you're watching a documentary, you're thinking, who the heck likes this stuff? Like, who's into this stuff? Like, is anybody else into this stuff? And I used to, in those lonely moments, you think you're the only one, but then you kind of like you go outside of your house and you're like, oh shit, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that are like intentionally showing up for themselves and for others in powerful ways and in transformative ways. And so, I wanted to like remind us all that we're not the only ones, that we're not alone on the journey, that that you listener, any of you listening right now, that you really do have a friend in Malwina and Aaron. We're on the journey with you, and we don't have it all figured out, and we're finding our way. And sometimes we're flat on our face, and other times we're freaking dancing like crazy, and super pumped. So just want you to know you're not alone. And then the voices aspect is just I want us to know that we have a place at the table, and I want us to know that there's none of us that ought to be like hidden away. Like we all have really important things to say. We have really important passions to share. We have really important stories to tell. And so I thought that doing these interviews would provide a reminder to myself and also to the people I'm interviewing, and also to any listeners, that we're not alone on this healing path, this body, mind, spirit, wellness expansion journey. And also each of our voices matters. Each of our voices matters. And it's important for us to continue to find ways in which to share our voices. And we'll be diving into Malwina's voice and her energy, spirit, and so let me just introduce Malwina. Yeah, we met in coastal California, in Carlsbad, California, and let's just say, you see Malwina smile right now. I mean, it's like those of you who are listening on YouTube, you could see Malwina smile. I mean, it's next level. It's an invitation to be alive. Like when I see you and when I see anything you put out, online, I'm just like, you really are like inviting and reminding me to be alive. like to be alive, like to be alive, like to be in awe of this day, you know. And so I just feel that when I hang out with you. I feel that when I see you post something, when I'm not getting to hang out with you. And I just feel really grateful to know you. I know you currently are fitness concierge at the incredible Calavi um, Health Spa, Calavi Health Spa. And I'm sure that might flow into our conversation today, kind of the work and energy that you're putting out there. Um, I know you're a surfer extraordinaire. You ride a Harley. You love being outdoors. I'm just amazed at who you are. You love traveling. Anyway, right? It's so fun to be a friend of yours. So thanks, Malvina. Thanks for being here. Thanks for coming on here to share your voice and to share some of your insights that you've gained over the years. And yeah. So on that note,
Thank you, Aaron. That was all like
big gratitude.
such incredible things.
Yeah, big gratitude.
So grateful for all the pump up before we
Yeah.
get started. But I do love that you mentioned for me, it's been aliveness. It's all about feeling alive. And I noticed that early on. I don't know, I wish I could tell you exactly what it was that sparked it, but I just have had a passion to kind of live outside of the norm, that regular societal path. I just knew it wasn't for me. And chasing money wasn't for me, even though I feel like it was kind of wanted to kind of pushed on all of us. And I just felt so rich when I did things that made me feel alive. Hence why I do the wild surfing and Harley riding and whatever it comes on my path is that aliveness, feel good energy.
Totally. Yeah, it's totally you, that aliveness. And yeah, you, anytime I'm always reminded like to go grab life, you know, and like yeah, right.
And I was thinking earlier today of like, what was it that kind of started it all? Because I do know that I was an avid soccer player. Like when I was young, soccer, it was eat, sleep, soccer, eat, sleep, practice, game, running. And I look back and I sometimes look back at my parents. It always comes to parents. And I was like, oh, I wish they kind of gave me some other lessons and brought me into this world with maybe better conscious lifestyle in terms of eating. And but then I look back and I'm like, wait a second, I remember seeing my mom run, and she would, when I was a kid, sometimes she would have me and my sister follow on bikes, and we would follow on bikes and kind of go up and down the path with her. And then when I was a teenager, I realized I started running. And so I look back and I'm like, wait a second, my parents gave me so many tangible gifts that there could always be more. But I feel like we're always looking at how the grass could be greener on the other side if we were raised by in a different way. But at the same time, it's like, wait, I can find gifts. I do look back, there's just gifts all along the way. And this morning I kept thinking, as I had a really incredible workout, I realized, whoa, my mom helped me find that through her chasing this aliveness in a way. And in general, it was just finding tangible ways to help us feel better. And it's like you mentioned earlier, it's constant experiment. We're constantly fine tuning, and it changes. What works one week, one day, one year, it may not feel good that next day, week, or year. You're going to have to fine tune it. I know for me, I'm not as big of a runner as I used to be now. But there's all sorts of other things that I have found to kind of still get that feel good energy. So I was trying to think back of like, when did it all start? When did it kind of evolve? And that evolution I now can see is like that first sense of running, finding that exhilaration, that dopamine and norepinephrine, and that heightens your system and makes your heart beat. And as you know, I'm sure we'll discuss further, is I I love breathwork now and playing with this polarity of hot and cold. So I do ice baths and then go into the hot tub and ice bath, hot tub, and then always finish, or it depends on the day, on the ice. But this feeling of pushing yourself into uncomfortable places, and the uncomfortable places, our deepest fears are once again not comfortable, but it's that place of diving into it that helps us grow. So I'm recognizing that when it first started to be running, that was uncomfortable, but then it got me to be a better soccer player. And I remember some of those games I was so scared. And then to sometimes win those matches and realize all that hard work was, it was their stepping stones to get you to where you want to be. And those stepping stones are never comfortable. And so, yeah, it's been this lifelong, step-by-step journey to get me where I am at. And it doesn't stop here. I feel like there's so much I want to do and there's so much fear in it. But that's what makes it worth it.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my. Yeah. So that's so helpful. Yeah. So as you're looking back, it's like, okay, where did this desire to enjoy, just energy, creative activities, right? I mean, it's like, yeah, I mean, and there's plenty of research out there just about moving our bodies, engaging our bodies, right? Whether it's in movement activities. But here, I mean, it's like ice baths, hot, cold, breath work. I mean, there's such incredible, I mean, as you're sharing, I'm like, yeah, how did, so you go back and you're like, okay, so soccer and
Yeah.
running, riding the bike behind your mom were kind of like early downloads. Where then how do you go from there to cold exposure,
Yeah.
because some of us, this guy, so, I've been trying to take some cold showers here lately because it's colder here in New York, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cold, I'm like, yeah, yeah, tell us about that evolution to get to because to me, I'm like, that's,
All right, so let's
yeah,
let's keep going back. I'll kind of
yeah,
I also just recently it popped into my head, and it's so funny how things just kind of arise out of the unknown. Is I remember in high school, I don't even remember, it was a motivational speaker I know we had at our high school. I had no idea what he even talked about or what he said, but I do remember he told me, take your mom's red lipstick and write, don't settle for average on your mirror. And I wrote that. And I had it up there, I think, for years, at least for a year or two. And I just remember always seeing that. And I feel like even today, it's something that I always kind of hold in my mind because, from high school, I got so lucky that, like I said, mentioned, my mom showed me running, and then she took me to a yoga class when I was about 15, and it was like a Bikram yoga where they did breath work. That was like a lion's breath where you inhale and then you do a crazy with the lion's breath, and I was like, what's going on? And I just remember leaving that class though and being like, whoa, this is as a 15-year-old, I remember my ego and looking at other people and kind of comparison happening. And I remember just at the end, it just dissolved. I remember it was just so much compassion and so much feel good energy. And yoga has been in my life journey in and out, now very much in. But it was kind of, I think of all these little seeds that are planted in life. And you kind of mentioned sometimes those seeds are our struggles, our challenges, and are not beautiful like that experience of finishing a hot yoga class. But they're these seeds that kind of grow into the most beautiful plants or trees or just nature in general. But so yeah, little things like don't settle for average, that first yoga class. And then I remember kind of going through life, being in a relationship, and I felt like I was just flowing into this path, this societal path of about to get married, gonna have kids, all those things. And then all of a sudden, boom, I was flipped on my head. My whole world shook up because my partner and I decided not to move forward together. And it was like, oh no, I feel like I kind of started building this life with this other human being.
Mhm.
And where it ended up taking me was right back into the hot yoga studio. And I remember, and running. I actually remember doing my first half marathon and just going to hot yoga every single day as my healing tool.
Okay.
And from that experience, I just remember it was so hard. It was so, that was one of the biggest heartbreaks I've had.
Yeah.
And it's so cool because now years later, and once again, it shows you that it takes time to heal. It's not, we live in such a instant gratification in our world. And we just think, all right, we're going to do this. And it's this quick fix. But it was about 8 to almost 10 years of really finding peace with it. And now being able to say, thank you.
Mm.
Like, thank you. All those like little things. Cause it got me, and you know this well. This all happened in Seattle. I was born in Poland, hence my name, Malwina Sitarz, which in Polish is Malwina Sitarz. I came to America, came to Seattle and was raised there. And after that heartbreak, I packed my van, left everything I knew, and headed down to Baja, Mexico, not knowing anything about Mexico, never stepped one foot in it. But I heard some great things. And at the time, I started playing with surfing. And so I was like, that'd be kind of nice to surf warmer waters.
Yeah.
So, and hopefully this kind of carves the path kind of to where I am now, a little bit of how I got to where I am now. So I packed my van and by myself drove down to Baja, California. And I'll never forget crossing that border of like leaving America and everyone told me, like, you're going to get murdered. Like, you're going to go by yourself. Like, that's where the cartel is. That's where all these like little things of like really making me like, oh no, like, I swear this is going to be a really magical thing. But everyone keeps trying to convince me that it's really, really dangerous.
Yeah.
And I remember my heart pounding because I crossed it kind of on my own. And at this point, I had no phone of like GPS. I had like this road map that it was like the surfer's guide to Baja. And I was just kind of like, all right, you're going to come to this gas station. There's going to be 2 big cactuses and you're going to take a right there. And I was like, all right, like reading it over and over. Okay, 2 cactuses. And it was like, I was so scared. And I got there and it was really beautiful. I met 2 you're going to hear me maybe say this a few times, and this is kind of how we met, is unquantifiable synchronicities. You just meet people at the right time. You maybe have, it's like that moment when you like think of someone and then they text you or call you. It's you just are, it reminds me of like, you're in that flow, you're in the right place, right time. And I met these 2 surfers, Maddie and Ingrid, that were taking their van from New York, actually, all the way to the tip of South America. And I got to do the privilege of doing Baja with them. And we would sit on the beach and just in our vans, starting a fire, cooking vegan meals. And we just had these moments of like, this is what life's all about, just like the simplicity and all of being in tune with nature and seeing the moon and the stars and just living with the lands. And that was my first dose of recognizing how complicated we sometimes make life. And when you really just slow down and come to the simplicity of having a good meal that makes you feel good, an activity that makes your heart shine. Like for me, it was activity, obviously, running. I'm a very physical, I love kind of getting my heart pumped up, but I'm also recognizing that's not for everyone. Some people can find that creativity. And I love your wife, Sarah. She has this so many passions, but one of them is her fashion. And I just realized like that makes her heart shine, and she doesn't have to explain it. And you don't have to explain to anyone in the world of why something makes you feel really good, but you just got to keep doing more of it. And so I guess, sorry, I may be going off in
You're
tangents,
doing
but
amazing. This is beautiful.
um,
Yeah.
I going to Mexico and finding that, for me at that moment in time, it was just surfing. And I wasn't a good surfer. I will admit it was challenging because I really wanted to be good. And it was get so frustrated when I would fall and when the waves pummeled me. And but it was also super humbling. And it made me realize that if I just keep doing this, I know I'll get better. I'm just going to keep doing this. And eventually I did. And it took a long time, but I lived in Mexico. Long story short, I somehow the seed of California, every time I came through, it left this really good feeling. And I, living in Mexico, I found I was either spending time with the elders, which was a really crucial moment in my life because there were so many gifts and wisdom that I acquired from people over 60 and all these life lessons. But then I also had a moment where I'm like, well, I'm not really spending time with people my own age. And I knew California was full of entrepreneurs and conscious, creative people that were really into health and wellness. And I will add that once again, another unquantifiable synchronicity. I was going to yoga occasionally to a studio. I was surfing one day, and this girl comes up to me, and we've surfed a few times. We weren't super close, and she goes, "Hey, Malvina, I heard you were thinking about going back to California, but I just want to let you know that we have Yandara Yoga Institute, this incredible yoga institute in Baja California, here in Todos Santos. We just had a few girls that dropped out from the yoga teacher training. Just curious if you'd be interested in joining us. Like, we'd give you a scholarship. We'd just like to have some good bodies in there that had, some good energy." And I just was like, "Are you kidding me? It's a month long. You're giving me a scholarship?" Like, that is one of those F yeses. You're like full in. Yes, yes, yes.
Right.
And I did a month long at this yoga institute, and we were living in tents, um, taking showers outdoors. Like, it was like this open scenery. The bathrooms were like no roofs because it's just so gorgeous down there. And I got to dive into just sitting with feeling. And one of my favorite quotes is, "It's not about feeling good all the time. It's about getting good at feeling." This is from Guy and Elon, this personal development. My two coaches that I've done, they say this a lot. And I just got to feel a lot. And I was a pretty shy person. And even with the yoga teacher training, I didn't want to be a yoga instructor. I just wanted to get better at yoga. But once again, I sprinkled a little seed. And after I left and came up to California, I worked in the industry in the bars. That's kind of what I did, a little bit here and there, besides, preschool teacher and all sorts of like, I call myself the jack of all trades. I just love doing anything. I just loved that, to try new things. And that's where I met you, thankfully. I was working at a bar, and you had some good smelling things going on, some essential oils. And I was like, "Whoa, what is that going on over there? I like those smells." And then immediately your energy when I spoke with you and Sarah. And living in California, working, I had some more unquantifiable synchronicities of, I knew I liked yoga, and I started going to just different Groupons. I'd go to Groupon to Groupon to Groupon to save as much money as I could. And I started going to studios, and there was a little voice in me that was like, "Malvina, you should just try to teach yoga. That will get you out of the bars." Because I did find that working in the bars was just, I didn't quite fit in. I'm not a person that I like to drink, but it was like, I liked going to bed early and waking up to go surf. And I would say no to a few drinks just so I could feel good the next day. Mm-hmm. And then one Kundalini yoga class at the Soul of Yoga in Encinitas, I remember going into that yoga class with the intention, try to apply at least to one studio that you really vibe with. And this one particular class, this yoga instructor came up to me and she goes, "Hey, where do you teach?" And I'm like, I don't teach yet, but I want to. And lo and behold, the conversation continues to flow. And she goes, you know what? Here's the number of our fitness director at Calabi. Send him an email. I think they're hiring right now. I think he'd be perfect. And I remember going in for that interview and I was like, I don't really teach yet. I want to. I tend to be raw and honest. And I thought it would kind of bite me in the butt and I wasn't going to get the job. But they kind of were like, you know what, this is perfect because we want to mold you into more than just a yoga instructor here. And to my surprise, I got this job at Calabi. It's one of the top health and wellness spas in the world. It's a luxury destination spa. And I started teaching yoga there. And I'll never forget some of the first few classes I taught there. I was like, oh my God, what did I just do? This is not for me. What have I got myself into? That doubt just constantly creeping in. And it's been 5 years now. And I can now say that I absolutely love what I do. And I'm recognizing, and I may have already mentioned this, it's not about what you say, it's about how you make others feel. It's all about that energy. And I now try to really, wherever I go, whatever I do, is bring my heart into it. And as I mentioned to you, there's days that I crash because I give. And because it can be, so we sometimes not recognizing, especially those people that just love this journey of healing. We want to keep healing ourselves and others. And I really did think that I had to be healed before I was ready to teach and try to heal others. But you're going to wait your whole life. You're going to wait your whole life. And stop me if I keep going. I'm not really sure where I'm going or where I'm at now, but this is kind of where I'm at now. I'm at Calabi and I love it.
Yeah. What's one of your favorite things to do at Calabi? Like one of your favorite roles or classes or activities that you facilitate?
You knew that was going to be a tough question.
That's a tough question. You're like, it's like all of it.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about like our days there. I get there at 6 a.m. and we kind of set up the studios and kind of bring all the fitness, yoga, any instructors that are coming on the hike will get there at 6 a.m. because we lead a hike at 6:30 a.m. We take off normally, like right now, it's a little bit dark when we start at 6:30, and then we all of a sudden start approaching that mountaintop and you get this beautiful sunrise. And I love it because we get so many different people. Some people that are, I always say those New Yorker type A's that have their watch and are so fit and ready. They're like, I'm trying to remind them to slow down, take a breath, enjoy it. And then we get some people that this could have been maybe their first hike. And so we have a bunch of instructors to fine tune of different people's flows and different speeds and cadences that they're on. So I love the hikes. It's such a beautiful way to start the morning. Then we send them off to breakfast and classes start again at 9. We have on the dot 9, 10, 11, and 12, all classes. And probably my favorite flow that I have is sometimes I'll teach boot camp or a HIIT class or boxing, or my favorite is coaching pickleball. I am also a pickleball coach there at Calabi. Okay. We have 2 beautiful courts there. Yeah. And then I'll teach yoga as well. At noon, another one of my favorites is sound bath. I've been doing sound baths at the noon hour. And basically it's a space of providing our guests, our divine humans that arrive there, the opportunity to find their journey with whatever the goals they may have. Because not everyone has the same goals. Some people are there to lose weight. Some people there are to decrease some of their stress. some people have been just working and hustling their whole lives, and they forgot about getting back into their body and like how to even take care of this body.
Yeah.
So we try to fine tune it. And that's why I'm considered the fitness concierge. Is actually I knew kind of a little promotion I just got at Calavi, where I'll be doing the scheduling. When people first get in there, I interview them and plug them into the right places to help them on their journey. But ultimately, it's a space that provides that health, wellness, and in the afternoon part of the day, we still offer a few classes, but a lot of guests are going to the spa, in terms of, or we call it the bathhouse, where they get their massages, their facials, rejuvenate after a hard day of working out or not working out. Maybe they're meditating, doing yoga all day, but being pampered. So we'd like to pamper them all day long.
Yeah.
And then normally after that, my day, I'll have some few private clients that I have on the side. But then it's my time to take care of myself. And that will be either a sunset surf, or like I mentioned, this new place called Breathe Degrees that just opened up here in Carlsbad that kind of plays with the ice bath and warm hot tub, and just any ways to kind of help me be a better version of myself. Because I normally am at, and I call it my 99% of the time I'm at 100%. I love to show up with so much energy and like pumping everyone up, and I love being people's cheerleaders, like, because life's not easy. Like, I just want to be that person that shakes you and is like, you're doing amazing, and I love you, I see you, I just want you to keep going, even if that's one step, one breath. Like, step into that unknown, that fear, that little bit of that discomfort even. And so I just want to get people to feel better, because it's not about feeling good all the time. It's getting good at feeling, but it's also do good until you know better. Right? And then once you know that better, do better. So even for myself, I don't know what I need every second, but just taking the moment to take a breath, maybe write something down, pros and cons. Maybe it's through movement, maybe it's through creativity, whatever your outlet is, and dive into that. And it's normally in the slowing down is when we can get back onto that flow, because sometimes we're moving a million miles an hour and we lose track of this. And another one of my favorite things is just like, these hands are going to be pulled in all sorts of directions. So don't forget to put them back right here and check in. What do I need?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Because it's so different for everyone.
I mean, you like that kind of circles me back to you in Baja, right? Where it's like the simple, you said like that coming back, like that was like a coming back to yourself, coming back to simplicity, slowing down a bit, right? Like surf interactions with other surfers, enjoying a meal, like the simplicity of a day, or it's like that is, sign me up for that future. Right, sign me up for that now, and also that future, right? Can we create more of that? Like as you're sharing. Well, so go
ahead.
No, say what you're gonna say.
Oh, I was just gonna be honest and vulnerable. I mentioned to you before we popped on this podcast is I had a low yesterday. It kind of lasted 2 days. And I couldn't pinpoint what it was, but at one point I was just crying, and I just cried, and my mind was trying to think why am I crying? Did I work too much this week? Did I not eat the right foods? Did I, exercise too hard? Did I not exercise enough? It was like trying to logistically figure out what was wrong. But then I kind of took a moment. I was like, my soul needs to cry right now, and I'm just going to let it cry.
Mm.
I cried and just embraced that emotion. And then finally kind of took the moment to like, okay, what is it that I need in that moment? I took what I needed, I had to do to maybe go a little bit back into the flow. Cause I feel like it could be so easy to just get stuck. And I get confused of like, how does depression or how do you get caught up in anxiety? And like, I'm no doctor or scientist, but I do see how people can feel like you mentioned earlier, alone,
Mm.
like you have no one, like you are in this low yourself. Oh, and it's so hard. And in those moments, I wish I can come to every single human being and just like give them a little bit of my magic if I have it that day and just kind of
Yep.
lift them up. But it just reminds me that it's just like we do have the power to lift ourselves up. And in those moments, remember you're not alone, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a book. I know you and me, we love reading. And even those books, I do agree with you. You read those and you're like, yes, I'm ready to conquer the world. Let's go. And then you're like, what do I do? Where do I start? And sometimes I think of that with Cala V, working at a health and wellness spa. I have moments where I'm like, this is not enough. I'm ready to go bigger. This is a launching pad, and I am ready to go reach more people.
Mhm.
And then I'm like, where do I start?
Yeah.
And it's scary. Um, but it's whether you're at your low, whether you're wherever you are in life, it's just remembering to just take that one step, one breath, one moment to get your heart fluttering again, and
Mhm.
just keep going towards that.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's thank you. So thank you for that beautiful, yeah, just sharing because yeah, it just gives people it's so real. I mean, this is that's so beautiful because and like you said, in the vulnerability piece of this weekend, and then it's like um yeah, I mean, I'm sure there were times during soccer seasons where you were just like, what the heck am I doing? Or, like, um, you know, right? The ups and
I
downs. You
call
said
it
the
the ebb and flow.
relationship. Yeah, it's like the relationship, the relationship that was the biggest, heartbreak, back in the day, like 10, however long ago that was. It's like real stuff, right? Real things that we're all going through and trying to like, oh, could I teach? Could I teach yoga? Oh, I don't, ooh, do I have it in me, right? Or, like, um, I don't know. Well, this is comfortable. I'm doing this. Like, I'm making good money doing this. Why am I like, I'm going to go try something new now? Like, that's scary. Like, that's
Mm-hmm.
freaking scary, right? I mean, no doubt about it. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, I think I loved how you just kind of took us on that journey of of listening, right? Of you ultimately just like listening, right? Whether that was you
Mm.
listening for the still voice, small voice in your inside of you that was like, oh yeah, oh yeah, you're this vibrant life energy that you show up with. Like, I think you're gonna, and there's no perfect place to share it, right? It's not like
Mm-hmm.
um, everybody needs to like become healers or full-time wellness practitioners or full-time, you know what I mean? Like, right? We need healers in all of the professions, all right. I mean, we
Mm-hmm.
need healing in Washington, D.C., right? We need healing in all of our state and city governments. We need healing in our grocery stores and in our right, like
Yeah, and I was
at the
gonna
bars.
add,
At the bars, I mean, I needed to meet you, and it's like,
when I have moments of doubt of what I'm doing, it goes back to just like, wait, how can I lift my vibration up?
mm-hmm,
Because you taking time to take care of yourself, that's not selfish because you're going to walk around and you're going to be in this higher vibration. And that stranger that walks by that you didn't think was going to impact you at all, they're going to feel it. And it's like, I totally agree with you. I don't think everyone was meant to be a yoga instructor or a healer or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
We think that, or even a doctor, I always thought like I wanted to be a doctor because that is a person that really can heal people. There is a way that we can heal each other that is goes to sometimes just taking the time to take care of yourself. And that is that little ripple that creates, kind of lifts that, um, all of conscious up.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah. Totally.
So
And if
yeah,
if,
it's
and you feel it, and you feel it. I mean, you go to the, when you go to the checkout line at the grocery, you feel it um, when that woman is locked. The woman who I've had this, her face just popped into my mind. At Vaughn's, where I'm like, I freaking love seeing her. I love
mm-hmm,
seeing her every time I go. It's like I choose her aisle because I just
mm-hmm.
enjoy seeing her. And um, yeah. Anyway, so it is that. So what would you say? So kind of hearing you kind of go through, um, I mean, oh my, such good, beautiful pieces, right? That, I mean, you having that on your mirror, red lipstick on your
Mm-hmm.
mirror, do not settle for
Average.
average. Like even that, I mean, talk about just setting one's intention and one's energy, right? That how that would, right, impact the way you show up for soccer, impact the way you show up for running, impact the way you show up for your family. Um,
Mm.
yeah. Anyway, so just some really good reminders. And you just like, I think you just bravery going down to Baja, and like, following that voice down there,
Mm-hmm.
right, and saying yes to your healing. I mean, and obviously always in process. But if you, so let's say somebody is brand new kind of into the, like, the healing arts world. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
they happened upon this, found it on TikTok, Instagram randomly or whatever. And it's like they, you know read, have read a book once, or yeah, I don't know, maybe it's just not like
Mm-hmm.
front and center in their world. um what might you just offer to somebody newer to this body, mind, spirit, wellness land? Because there can be so many ways to go, right? There's so many, like, it's like, oh, read this first, check out this, come to this retreat, then you want to go. It's like, anyway, I'm just curious, like, what would be your
That's a
2 cents
tough
on?
one.
Yeah, I mean, there's no right answer to it, right? Those of you who are listening, there's no right answer. You're gonna find your right answer, but yeah, what might you offer, Malvina, for somebody in that space?
Yeah, I almost want to say it comes back to those unquantifiable synchronicities. Um, it. I feel like my life changed, drastically reading Michael Pollan's Omnivore's Dilemma
Mm,
in an environmental studies class. Going to a liberal arts college, it kind of opened up my mind to just speaking with these super intellectual human beings that just all of a sudden like made me shift the way I think. But for some people, it could be a yoga class that changes the way they view themselves or the world. It could be a book. It could be a conversation. It, and I just would say, just keep diving into it and keep seeking more of it. I think of it like, I constantly chase magic, this magic that makes my heart flutter. When you feel your heart flutter and you get this like, whoa, like that made me feel really good.
mhm,
Don't just like brush that to the side. Get eager of like, okay, how can I find more of that? Maybe you read one book. One book's not going to change your life. Pick up another one.
mm,
Look at what that author has wrote that, maybe he wrote other ones, or if there's a genre that you maybe got it from, look at more people in that genre. If it's a yoga class, notice that there's more yoga classes. There's different yoga studios. There's different, um, ways of getting sometimes the same information in different ways. And then those will open up doors to a yoga instructor talking to you, or even about therapy. And then you're going to open that door and be like, oh, maybe you were in a mindset that therapy was only for the crazies. Oh,
Yeah.
it's normal people like Malvina and Aaron go to therapy and they seem really happy. Maybe I should try therapy.
Mhm.
I heard Malvina mention something about plant medicine.
Mhm.
Maybe I should look into it. It's just different. Like there is no one way is the right way.
Mhm.
It's leaning into the things that make your heart flutter.
Mhm.
Um, and like I mentioned before, is like sometimes that you can't quite put your finger on what makes your heart flutter, and it's so different for everyone. But just keep going towards energy that feels really good for you, and just never stop, even when it gets tough, even when we hit those moments are that ebb and flow, we get to our lows. I just recently was kind of thinking about a caption of posting for a reel on my Instagram, and it made me kind of go back to that hot and cold of the breath work that I do, and or that practice that I do. It's we live a life of polarities, and our mind's going to tell us to sit on the couch and do
Mhm.
nothing,
Mhm.
and because our mind, it's here to keep us safe. And thank goodness that we have our mind to keep us safe, because I'd probably get on my Harley and do something crazy and stupid and I wouldn't be here today. So
Yeah.
thank goodness I have a mind that keeps me safe.
Mhm.
But if I were to listen to my mind all the time, I'd be sitting on the couch, or probably not even on the couch. I wouldn't even make it on the couch. I'd probably lay in bed all day. And it's a risk swinging our legs out of that bed and getting up and just going outside. It's a scary world.
Mhm.
And knowing from the loss I've had with dear ones at an early age, it's like you can get in a car accident. I lost friends to avalanches doing what they loved, and it shows you that, well, life is short, and that can be scary, and it could be paralyzing. But if we just sat and did nothing, we don't grow. We don't learn about ourselves. We don't expand. And life's about growing, and it's expanding, and it's getting out of your comfort zone. It's chasing that flutter, chasing even that fear, and recognizing that that fear starts to help your soul just fully grow. And that's what the beautiful class I took yesterday with Tyler, he really honed in on diving into the discomfort when you first get in to a cold bath. And I think the temperature yesterday was about 39 degrees.
Mhm.
It hits you so hard in the chest first. And he always says take two deep ins and outs through your mouth. And then nice, slow, long breaths in and out of the nose. And if you get through that first 5-10 seconds, I was with a girl right next to me and she was like, and it was almost like she was fighting something, fighting the mind trying to tell her, you can't do this.
Yeah.
When you're in breath work and you're doing Wim Hof and you're at the bottom of an exhale, you were told that you're fully oxygenated. And your mind wants to take that breath in. It's fighting to take that breath in. And when you sit with it and recognize that, wait, I'm still okay. Oh my goodness, I'm okay. And I haven't taken a breath in a minute, sometimes a minute and a half. Sometimes they push you to 2. And then you come out of it and they tell you how long you held your breath. You're like, I did that. What? Like you start to recognize that, wow, like I am a powerful being.
Mhm.
I can do some of the impossible things. And I always love that word impossible says I'm possible.
Mhm.
So you can do those scary things. In the cold bath, you can sit there for so much longer than you think. But you're going to fight with your mind, and it's 90% is the mind, 10% is the physical.
Mhm.
And when you get to that beautiful place where you kind of just make peace with what I like to call the chaos, whether it's ice bath, whether it's a hard workout and you're just like, oh, I can't do 10 more. And then you say, no, I got this 10 more, whether it's going to therapy or to the yoga class. And there's a part of you that's like, oh, I feel uncomfortable. I don't know if I want to go. Get on it. For me, it was really being scared to get on a Harley. I was so scared. I had no background of riding a motorcycle. And I took a course and I was shaking in my bones trying to figure it out. And then when I got my first Harley, I was like, that's too powerful. I don't know if I can do that. And I heard that voice, and you got to start listening to that other voice that says, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Just go. Yeah. Just get on that saddle and go. Yeah. So yeah, there's just so much polarity in life. And I wish I could tell you that we're here and it's going to be a good day every day. I wish. Right. I so wish. It's not. Let's just get to that hard truth and surrender into that truth that it's not going to be a good day every day. But when you get that good day, you get so pumped to have that good day. And when you have that bad day, just know, hey, this is a gift in itself. There's some lessons in the hardships and the struggles. I know you and I talk so much about one-on-one and with our partners of ancestral trauma. There's so much suffering that not even you and I have gone through. It's our parents, our grandparents. It's this world has gone through so much suffering. And I can sit here in despair and just be like, oh, well, nothing that I'm going to do is going to change anything. But it goes back to no, you have a good day. That's going to help someone else have a good day. And it's just going to raise that level of humanity, that bar of frequency. And then when you look back at history, even it's like, there was wars, there was hate, there's always this polarity going on. And sometimes I find almost a peace in the realization that that there is that flow. I think life would be like, we got to have those bad days to show us how good days can be. It's like that polarity allows us to, when you eat the crappy food, you really know what good food tastes like. You're never going to find that if you just had that one path of never going to the polarities. And it's yeah. Yeah. Gonna make sense.
All good stuff. Yeah, all good stuff. That's amazing. Oh my.
And that we have the power in our hands to just change.
Yeah.
And
start over.
A constant experiment.
Again. Right? I mean, it's like sometimes I'm like kicking myself, and then I'm like, wait, I could still I could start again. It's 2 p.m. in the afternoon. I'm like, come on, bro, you're fine. You're fine. Here we go. But it's like it's interesting. You said the generational trauma, and it's like these thought patterns, right? Whatever these thought patterns that we've been holding on to for a long time, right? I'm 41. It's like I got a few years of thought patterns going on, right? And it's like, what thought patterns do I want to hold on to? And then what thought patterns are like, namaste, good times. Like, it's been real for the last 27 years, but I can't hang on to you any longer, right? I mean, it's I've been trying to show up to like do dishes with different energy, right? Like it's so like I've got I mean, right? It's a rotation.
I add one thing?
Yeah.
I read this book. I think it was called I'll have to. I can't even remember. I'll never forget this part where she goes, "Can you scrub the toilet and instead of getting mad that you have to clean this gross toilet Like,
Right.
can you pretend that there's just an orchestra in there singing for you? And like, can we reframe these things that we do that are like, I don't want to wash the dishes, but can you, I call it the magic. Can you find magic in the mundane? Can you find
Yeah.
just the simple things you do day to day? Just get
Yeah.
so excited
Yeah.
to do them.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, and again, that, I mean, like you said earlier, it's like, it's the process. It's not an overnight. It's not, like, I think we wish we could
Mm.
just like snap the finger and then all of a sudden have our yoga practice down, or snap the finger and all of a sudden like enjoy doing dishes. But holy schmoly, those are practices, right? It's such a, and I think
Yeah.
that, yeah, I think that's what inspires me about you is your ability to like, yeah, and you have challenging days and you have darker, harder days, right? But also like
Because I'm
just I think
human.
that but your practices, I think that's what inspired, like when I see your consistency, that those practices change the game. Like when I observe you or you're telling me about your day or whatever, when we catch up, I'm like, what? I'm like, dang, I'm just amazed at how like your faithful
Yeah.
habits, like, and yeah, I think that those, I think sometimes it's like because we went to school, right? Monday through Friday, da, 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 look forward to the weekend, da, 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 we got trained in this kind of that world, right? Where we're looking forward to the weekends. And we felt kind of robotic. Some of those habits can kind of put you to sleep if you're not careful, right?
Mm.
And you're like not there when you're doing them. And so, but yeah, I just think your practice, your intentional practice, whether it's yoga, whether it's breath work, whether it's hot, cold, whether it's surfing, whether it's learning to drive the Harley, like,
Mhm.
I just appreciate yeah, your faithfulness to your practices, like, I just think that changes the game.
Yeah, and I will say it's taken me a long time, and maybe it was that seeing my mom running and her consistency with that helped me
Yeah.
guide me into staying consistent with my health and making myself better.
Mhm.
Um, but I do want to add, I don't know why this like kind of popped up in my brain hole, but it was
Yeah. Yeah.
embracing where you are.
Mhm.
I know that sometimes when I tell people what I do in my day, they're like, "What?" That takes me all week to do all that. And once again, snap out of comparison.
Yeah.
What do you need? And surrender into where you are at. Whether you
Mm.
are have never gone to, I mean, I don't want to keep saying a yoga class. It's just like whether you've never even learned about healing or ancestral trauma or therapy, or if you feel like you've been in this robotic going to school, going to work, and you're maybe listening to this podcast for the first time and you're just like, wait, I got to take care of myself. How do I do that? Remember to just start small, start. It's like, I think of it like our putting a penny in for ourselves into our little piggy bank, and like every day recognizing, oh, that penny's important, I'm going to need that one every single day, and then, oh, I need this one and that one, so we're going to put two, and then we're going to do three, and then you build, because but that building is kind of getting out of that comfort zone, and doing some hard things, as you and I discussed. It's healing ourselves is not always easy, but I find that it's always worth it. Whether it's diving in with a therapist and trying to break those ancestral traumas and changing the way, I know for me, the way I think. I am my worst critic, and I have so much doubt every day
Yeah.
that even this morning I'm had to look at myself in the mirror. And for all my women out there, I highly encourage, get naked, look in the mirror, and rephrase everything that I know for me that I've been programmed to tell myself, that I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not skinny enough, I'm not whatever, fit enough, whatever it may be. That's my kind of things that I deal with, is I try to change that paradigm. And today I put on a really good song and just started dancing in front of the mirror. And even though there's some things I don't like about myself, I looked at it and I was like, I still like you. And I like, yeah, I like this. And it's just like, what is it that we can do? And I know when I say it out loud, it probably seems so simple, yet so silly. Yet I know for me that that was a moment that completely shifted into, how I'm showing up to this podcast right now. Like, what is it that you can change about this way that our mind is constantly trying to suppress and bring us back to that, into some negativity? I always am trying to find things that pump me up. How can I be my own cheerleader? And it's different every day.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's dancing, sometimes it's surfing, and but it's getting definitely, how can you be consistent? If you do find one thing that makes that your heart flutter, do more of it.
Mm.
And then once that doesn't make your heart flutter, don't stop.
Mhm.
Go explore. I think life is such an exploration, and it never stops. You're constantly wanting to grow and learn, and the healing's not easy. I know I've been open with you about my plant medicine, and just
Mhm.
recently doing my first ayahuasca experience. And for those of you that don't know, it's an ancestral ceremony that they've done in the Amazon for many, many lifetimes. And it's a medicine that a lot of the times brings you to some darkness. I know for me, it was dealing with all the behaviors I don't like using the word hate, but things that just drive me bonkers about myself that I do.
Mm.
Um, and embracing them as, once again, gifts. Like, how can we really truly find value into our deepest, darkest places, and being okay with it, and just fully trusting that life doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you need. And I do find that sometimes in that suffering, whether you're in that ice bath or the hard workout, or thinking about all the really messed up things that happen in your life, how can you take that fresh breath of air and reframe and reset and plant seeds into recognizing that that is what's going to help me blossom?
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. Such a good reminder, right? Where it's like, yeah, to reframe it, to come back to breath, right? Reconsider,
This,
reconsider what's real, like what's true. I think that, right, as you're sharing, I'm like, just the stuff that the stories we've been sold forever, that it's
mm-hmm.
like, and figuring out what's true, what actually is true for me any longer. What do I want to, like you said, what makes me like what allows me to have that feeling of flutter, where I'm like, yes, this is exciting, like, do more of that. Those are just such huge reminders.
Yeah, and I have kind of a elaborate question for both of us that just all of a
Yeah.
sudden comes on my mind is,
Yeah.
I mean, let's think of healing, the word in itself,
Yeah.
healing. Like, when I think of healing, it's like I think of a cut, right? Cut that needs to heal and feel better. And normally that cut makes me not feel good. Like, healing. I don't want to think, I try to remind myself that we're always, like I said, mentioned, we're always healing,
Mhm.
but there's nothing wrong with me. I think of
Mm.
humans as all perfectly imperfect, but just coming into this divine world of so much beauty and chaos. No matter how bubbled and like living in as perfect world as you can possibly live in, you're going to get cut up. There's going to be battle wounds from living. sometimes like that aliveness in itself of getting a cut, someone saying something to you that is holding you back. That voice within your head that someone said to you back in elementary school, it's still imprinted in your head. That's like that little cut. And in a way, this journey that we are on, once again, it's so different from everyone, but what is it that you can do to help yourself feel good? Use that little cut to show you or become the warrior that you are.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? It's just
Yeah.
like, we got to get little battle wounds to remind us the warriors that we are, because this life is not easy, but it is so beautiful if you can start recognizing that there's magic in everything, even in the hard stuff.
Yeah. 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 And it's like those, yeah, again, right. That process of, Aaron at 19 talking through childhood trauma. And then I'm like, versus Aaron at 41, just very different perception on that childhood trauma. Right. And so it's like that, that evolution where maybe initially it was just like, what the, right. And then it led me into some behaviors, and then it led me into some habits, and it led me, right. And then I'm like, fast forward another decade, 15 years, then I'm like, plant medicine, and then I'm like, and then, right. I mean, just this evolution of each of us. It, like, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you've said it throughout. It's like, it's so unique. It's so unique. And those instances, those traumas, those things that were said that were not appropriate, right? I mean, we all had things said to us that it's like, are you kidding me right now? Like, no, no, not
We're all
appropriate, right?
human.
And not appropriate.
We're all,
But yeah, so but it's like, how do you, yeah, how do you embrace? I hear you. What you started with was like, to be in this process of healing and also acknowledging our wholeness now, right? I feel like
mm,
is what you were saying. It's like, because that is, because I don't want to be in this like, I'm never enough, I'm never growing enough, I'm never healing enough, I'm never, right. Like,
that's a low frequency. You're
yeah,
coming from a place, once again, from, I find myself when I'm like in that place of doubt where I'm not enough, whatever it may,
right,
like whatever your variation of not enough is a place when I start comparing,
yeah,
when I'm coming from places of just, yeah, low frequency. So it's just like, how can you find gratitude that, and sometimes it comes back to the simplicity of like, are you breathing right now?
yeah,
Are you alive? Do you have the capacity to get up and enjoy life? I met this incredible human that was had didn't no longer had two legs,
mm-hmm.
and instead of that bringing him down, he's now a paraplegic. I believe it's called gold medalist for snowboarding. And it's like, where I remember hearing and seeing about his life and how it happened and where he is now, is like, don't let anything hold you back. And there is this essence about all of us that um yeah, we are whole, but where we are now, it can just get better and bigger and more wonderful. And it doesn't stop today, it doesn't stop tomorrow. And when you have those days of lowness, is embrace that too, and then to remember to take a step forward and get yourself out of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
um
Mm-hmm.
there's yeah,
Yeah,
this wild journey of life. It's just taking, and I call it like, I think I mentioned already, is it's a life experiment, and we're always fine tuning. I know, like you mentioned, the 21-year-old version of Malvina to the 33-year-old version of now is, I'm playing with this newness of not drinking anymore, because I've been listening to so many podcasts of how toxic it really is. And it's something that in our society that it's just kind of this norm. And I'm trying to reframe my mind of recognizing this is not a habit that I need to just keep doing, because it obviously doesn't make me feel good. And so it's that little step of like the habit of having a drink in my hand is like, okay, can I do tea instead? Can I do a LaCroix or sparkling water?
Yeah.
Putting some cucumbers and strawberries in my water to spice it up.
Mhm.
Um, and it's like whatever habit you have is like, how can you replace it with a really good one that makes you feel good? But and it's sometimes having those really bad days where your mind, the beauty of your mind starts interpret it, or like logistically go back and be like, all right, what was it that I did? And what could I do better tomorrow to not go back into that low?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So good. So good. So two final questions.
okay.
Okay. Two final questions. You're so, yeah. So I'm so thankful. This has been so good.
I don't
And
even know
so
where we've been and where
I'm
we've
excited to
gone, but
listen.
I
I'm
love
excited
it.
to listen. Yeah, I'm excited to listen to it and edit it and just like soak it in again. I mean, I feel like I've just been like in a workshop. It's been so good. It's been so good. So thank you. Yeah, thanks for sharing your heart. So number one, um, so you said, I mean, you talked about you know, having kind of a challenging days, but like, so stress. So if stress is high, what are your top three like strategies? Like, where do you have like
Mm.
three things that it's like, you know what, I am not in my body right now, and I'm going bonkers upstairs. You know, like my mind is racing. I'm jumping on that train, and I don't want to be on that train. How do I come back? How do I earth out? Like, what are your like go-to medicines of choice right now that kind of are like,
Mm.
I mean, you talked about this more. I mean, you just shared the dancing, your dancing session in the mirror and listen to music. Like, I mean, that could be one of your a medicine, you know?
Yeah, I feel like I feel like I call it my toolbox. I got a lot of tools in my toolbox, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
use different ones for different days. As I mentioned, ocean therapy, I call it, is a big one. And I read a beautiful book called Blue Minds. I'm not sure the author, but it was about the therapeutic benefits of water, whether it's you're in the water, you're listening to the what is it called? Rain sounds when you go to bed. There's a reason that we like listening to water. We like the fountains in front of our houses so we can listen to it. Whether it's going to the beach and seeing the ocean or
Mhm.
seeing a river or a lake, there's something um, ancient within our DNA that's just attraction. I mean, we are water when you think about it. Like we're 70% water. So for me, it's surfing. And some days I don't have to actually get into the water. Yesterday, I went to go sit by the water, plop myself on the beach, and just took a lot of deep breaths and just listen to the water. And for those of you that don't have access to a local beach, you know, maybe it is just listening to some ocean sounds and sitting down and feeling into your body. I personally love the practice of when I'm really not embodied, is sitting down, one hand on my belly, one hand on my heart, and taking diaphragmatic breaths, you know, breathing into belly and chest, and really finding that divine expansion within your own body, this aliveness within you. And no matter what you're going through in life, this, I promise you, if you just slow down and listen to your own breath, you will come from a place where you're not responding or reacting, excuse me, reacting. You're going to come from a place of responding. You're going to, so yeah, I mean, breath is my home, and to feel into your belly and your solar plexus and your heart. Find that for me, those are my three areas where the body has a lot of information. And if you sit and really listen to all the little sensations that are trying to bubble up to the surface, you will start to find answers within your own body. I know when I have a hard time making decisions, or I don't like to use the word decision, choice, when I have to make choices.
Yeah.
My teachers used to say decide is on the same lineage of suicide, genocide, homicide. So
Oh, wow.
when you think of, oh, I need to decide, you feel like you're cutting yourself off from all the other paths. If I decide to go this way, I won't be able to do anything else over here. But wait a second, just because you decide to go down this path, it does not cut you off from anything. You choose to go on a path, and you have also the choice to take a U-turn and go back and take another path.
Yeah.
It's a constant choice. And I like that expansion of using that word. So when I choose to breathe, to slow down, and when I want to choose what is right and wrong for me, you can even sometimes notice your body sways forward if it's a yes, or it'll sway back if it's a no. So for me, finding that groundedness of feeling into my own body and embracing and not necessarily labeling. I sometimes will feel like, oh, I feel tightness in my heart, or I feel like there's a heaviness on my heart, or tightness in my stomach, whatever it may be. Can you just breathe into that and notice that that in itself will change when you bring awareness into it? So I love that, the practice of awareness. Surfing, my mom always will say, Malvina, have you surfed this week? I think you just need to go into the ocean and you will probably feel better. So that is a big practice. But I know, once again, not everyone has access to surfing. So can you utilize that, some kind of ocean therapy or water therapy? Sometimes it's just taking a shower, and that refreshment of taking a shower. If it's raining, go dance in the rain. But I feel like I gave a lot, but ultimately for me, it's moving my body. I know sometimes when I have a tough day, and I do love coaching boxing. I find that when I coach boxing, I turn into this alter ego of Malvina, where I'm like almost this fight of just, punch hard and give it all you got. And like, almost like, I love watching women when they have a chance to channel this energy that a lot of the times we suppress. I think for men, we suppress crying and sadness and emotions. And for women, we're told like, you can't be angry, you can't be mad. We're going to just put a smile on and be our polite selves. And when I teach boxing, I see this sometimes passionate rage in women, and they get so into it, and then they feel this like lightness about them. And it's just, once again, it's just embracing all emotions and embracing and finding the right way to channel all of these human ways. Because when you said a few things earlier, and I said, well, we're human. We're human. We're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
We have this plethora of ways of being and feeling this world. And I feel like society likes to box it up as right or wrong, good and bad. And there's so much color in it. And when can we start to like be excited about all the colors? So whatever practice it may be for you, if check in with this, and if it elevates your frequency, do more of it. Try to dance in the mirror naked if you are feeling brave that day.
Yeah.
Reading a good book, music is so big for me. Is listen to a good song and see if that can shift you. Gardening, I know for me, digging my hands in dirt sometimes when I'm frustrated, or just cleaning your space. It's like that reorganization of your space can help reorganize everything in here. So yeah, hopefully those are some tangible things that people can take away.
So great. So before the last question, this is like a mini question, but you're at Cal V, you do private one-on-ones. You surely have retreats on your mind at some point in the coming years of hosting them and like, just because, I mean, I'm coming, right? I'm coming, or I'm giving massages at them or something, because I
Mhm.
just love being around you. Um, like if somebody listens to this and is like, oh my gosh, I want some one-on-one, just some one-on-one support, one-on-one coaching with Malvina, like what would be the best route for somebody to, I mean, are you open to that? Is that something you'd be down to like strategize with somebody if they've reached out on Instagram and were like, oh my gosh, love your energy, would love your support. What are your rates? Is this something is that something
Mhm.
that could be on the horizon for you if it's not already? Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I have a website, Malvina Sitarz,
okay,
MalvinaSitarz.com.
awesome.
That is, a- I feel like I haven't updated much recently, but it gives you a little dose of one way of communication. Definitely on Instagram, Malvina Sitarz, just reach out, DM me. And sometimes that, hopefully it's a reel that resonates with you and helps kind of lift you up. I love voice messages. So just send me a voice message. I'm more than happy for free to just pump you up, be your number one fan. If you want to dive deeper into one-on-ones, I'm more than happy to, whether it's phone call, I'll sometimes do 30-minute calls, almost like just therapy. Let's
Mhm.
dive in. What can we do right now in this moment to find healing?
Mhm.
Um, whether it's a yoga, fitness, get you on that physical place. I do one-on-one sessions. And then one day, as Aaron knows, I'm in a really big fear with this, with two things in my life. My partner and I want to buy a sailboat and sail the world. And right now we're in those stages of planning, and it's just like, oh my gosh, is there enough money? What's the right boat? What's this? It's just like so many logistical things, but it's taking one foot in front of the other. And
Mhm.
it's so scary to want to go on that path. But once we're on that boat, we want to stop in beautiful places and create communities, whether it's retreats or just bring good energy into the cities that we land in, is
Yeah,
to have ways of connecting with people and leveling it up, leveling everyone up. Consciousness in general, we need to just bring better energy into this world. And once we do retreats, I know Aaron and I will let you know.
totally, totally. So good. All right, awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I'll definitely make sure I put all your info in the descriptions on both podcasts and YouTube, so that'll be good as well. Um, so
You'll
yeah,
find me playing pickleball at Poinsettia or
right.
St. Michael's if you want to play pickleball, or
Yeah,
surfing all around Oceanside. Come surf with me. I'll do lessons too. I'll do whatever you are craving in this world. I feel like, and this is why I love you, Aaron, is just like you are all about helping people in any way, shape, or form. And I feel like we're both we try to connect. We're little connectors and connecting people to the right place, and whatever you are on your journey. It's just whether it's may not be me, but I may know someone that can
totally.
help you. And like we're just a team, we're a community of healing, and we're just going to try to guide you on your path,
Yeah,
wherever that may be.
love it, love it. All right, so 20,000 people in the room, and you've given this incredible speech. I'm freaking, I'm pumped up right now. I'm feeling jazzed. Like, but what do you like? Last, like two pieces that you want us to walk away with. You want people to like close with, breathe in, whatever, like, yeah, specific, like
I was
go
nervous you were
walk forward
going
and
to ask me this
walk forward
question.
and chew on this. I mean, you've given gold throughout this whole time. So I'm like, I mean, there's so much gold already. So you can repeat something you've already said. It's all good. But yeah, what are like two pieces maybe that you're just like, all right, walk away with this, ponder this sort of thing. Anyway, whatever, go wherever you want, but
This is a hard one.
narrowing it down,
Oh,
right? I mean, it's like, yeah.
Mm. I feel like I have a million things running through my mind.
Yeah.
I almost want to piggyback on where you started. So, kind of bringing it full circle
Mm,
is that aloneness
mm,
is we're never alone, even though our society can, we go to school and we take tests on our own. You got to get your own job. Everything is just, you do it alone. But remember, you're this world, we're in this divine oneness that you are supported.
mm.
And all you got to do is use your voice to ask for help. And that's still something that I work with is sometimes I'm not really good at asking for help. But hopefully we can help one another be better at asking for help because I know that you and I and majority of a lot of people in this world, we love helping. We want to help everyone out. Let's lift everyone up. So you're not alone. Ask for help and just find magic in the mundane. Find magic and embrace it all. Embrace the chaos, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. There's gifts in it all.
Amen. Amen. And so it is. Yeah, so great. Um, oh, thank you, Malvina. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for taking the
Thank you,
time.
Aaron.
Yeah, really grateful. Really grateful. And those of you who dropped in to episode 45 today, or if it's nighttime tonight, yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for being on the path with us. Yeah, know that, yeah, reach out to Malvina, reach out to me. Know that you have a listening ear in both of us. Know that we're ready to, yeah, I mean, we're walking alongside you and saying yes to wellness through challenging times and through bliss times. And so just know that yeah, you have us in your corner. And I love you said like the cheerleading piece. It's like, yeah, I feel like that's I just, yeah, I too, I want to see us all just like cheer each other on more, right? Where it's like, let's just keep cheering each other on. Like, holy crap, you went through that and how in the heck are you where you are? Like it's amazing. Yeah, all of us, like, it's just incredible the resilience that we all have. So thanks for being resilient, all of you who listened today. And yeah, maybe we keep being courageous. Yeah. So
Yeah,
thanks, Malvina.
definitely.
Thank you
Yeah,
to
thank
those
you,
of you who
Aaron.
joined. Yeah, thanks for
You
everybody who
are such
joined.
an inspiration, one of
Mm,
my greatest friends, mentors, and teachers. So it's
mm.
been incredible to be on this life journey with you and to just continue this expansion. I hope all those listening, I hope something resonates. And remember, use your voice. Don't be afraid to ask for help and keep shining and
Yeah.
thriving one
Yes.
day, one breath at a time.
Yeah, seriously. Seriously. All right. Peace out, y'all.
Namaste.
Bye-bye.